If you're over the age of 65, pause for a moment and really listen to this, because what I'm about to say may quietly challenge something you've trusted for years. It sounds healthy, it sounds responsible, and almost every doctor encourages it. But on its own, it may not be protecting you the way you think. For decades, Americans have been told that walking is the gold standard for staying strong as we age. Morning walks around the neighborhood, loops through the mall when the weather turns cold, a few laps around the block after dinner. It feels productive, it feels safe, and it feels like you're doing the right thing. But here's the uncomfortable question many older adults are starting to ask themselves. If walking alone is enough, why does standing up from a chair feel harder every year? Why do stairs suddenly demand the handrail? Why does getting out of a car take more effort than it used to? And why do so many people who walk faithfully still worry about falling? This isn't about being lazy, and it isn't about getting older the wrong way. In fact, many of the people struggling the most are the ones who stayed active their entire lives. Former factory workers, retired teachers, veterans, parents who raised families and stayed on their feet for decades. The concern isn't your motivation, it's the strategy. Across clinics and physical therapy offices in the US, surgeons and mobility specialists see the same pattern week after week. Older adults who walk regularly, sometimes every single day, yet their leg strength continues to fade. Their balance quietly declines, and everyday movements, standing, stepping, stabilizing, become more uncertain. So stay with me, because once you understand why this happens, you'll also understand what most people miss, and what can still be done to protect your independence. To understand why so many older adults struggle with strength and balance despite staying active, we need to talk honestly about what actually changes inside the body after 65. Not in medical jargon, not in scary terms, just the reality of how aging affects movement. As we get older, the body naturally begins to lose muscle mass. Doctors call this process age-related muscle loss, and it doesn't wait until you feel weak to begin. In fact, it often starts quietly in your late 50s and accelerates in your 60s and 70s. The muscles that decline the fastest are not the ones used for casual movement. They're the muscles responsible for power, stability, and control. This is where many people get misled. Walking is excellent for the heart. It supports circulation, breathing, and overall endurance. That's why physicians recommend it so often. But endurance and strength are not the same thing. You can walk every day and still lose the muscle fibers that help you rise from a chair, steady yourself on uneven ground, or catch your balance when you stumble. In American daily life, these moments matter more than most people realize. Standing up from a low couch, stepping off a curb in a grocery store parking lot, carrying laundry upstairs, getting out of bed at night without feeling unsteady. These are not endurance tasks, they are strength tasks. Another reason this issue is underestimated is because muscle loss doesn't announce itself loudly at first. It shows up as small adjustments, using your hands to push off the chair, taking stairs more slowly, avoiding uneven sidewalks, holding onto furniture while moving through the house. Each change feels minor, but together they signal something important. Who is most at risk? Adults over 65 who rely on one form of activity alone, people who walk faithfully but never challenge their muscles, those who avoid strength work because they fear injury or believe it's too late. Ironically, these are often the most disciplined and health-conscious individuals. Family members notice the change before the person does. A spouse offering an arm, a child suggesting a handrail, a grandchild asking why you don't join them on the steps anymore. These moments aren't about age, they're about muscle signals slowly fading due to lack of targeted use. The good news is that this process is not permanent. But first, it has to be understood. To truly understand why walking alone fails to protect leg strength after 65, we need to look at how the body actually moves, not how we think it moves. Most people assume that because walking uses the legs, it must automatically keep them strong. But strength is not about motion alone. Strength is about how much force a muscle is required to produce, and how often it is challenged to adapt. After a certain age, simply repeating the same low-effort movement is no longer enough to send a stay strong signal to the body. As we age, the nervous system becomes more selective. Muscles that are not regularly challenged begin to shut down, almost like lights in unused rooms. This happens even in people who are active every day. The result is a gradual loss of muscle fibers responsible for stability, power, and quick reaction, the exact qualities that prevent falls. The muscles walking does not protect. Walking primarily uses a limited range of motion and only a portion of the leg muscle's full capacity. It favors endurance fibers, the type that keep you moving forward at a steady pace. But the muscles that decline fastest with age are different. These include the quadriceps that help you stand up, the glute muscles that stabilize the hips, the deep muscles around the knees that control descent and balance, the calf muscles that steady the ankle, the hip flexors that lift the foot off the ground. When these muscles weaken, the body compensates. You might lean forward more, push off with your hands, take shorter steps, walk more slowly. None of this feels dramatic until one day you realize you don't trust your legs the way you used to. Doctors see this pattern constantly. Patients who proudly say, "I walk every day," yet struggle with the simplest transitions. Getting out of a chair, stepping into a bathtub, or standing on one leg long enough to put on a sock. Early warning signs most people ignore. One of the most dangerous aspects of age-related muscle loss is how subtle it appears at first. Many older adults assume these changes are just normal aging, but in reality, they are early warning signs. Common signals include needing armrests to stand up, hesitating before stairs, feeling unsteady when turning, shuffling steps instead of lifting the feet, ankles feeling weak on uneven ground, fatigue in the thighs after short periods of standing. These are not signs of laziness or frailty. They are signs that certain muscles are no longer being asked to do their job. Why the chair test tells doctors so much. One of the most revealing assessments used in American clinics is deceptively simple. Can a person stand up from a chair without using their hands? This single movement requires coordination between the thighs, hips, core, and balance system. It mimics dozens of daily tasks, rising from a toilet, a couch, a bed, or a car seat. When someone struggles with this motion, it tells doctors that the muscles responsible for independence are weakening. Walking does not train this movement. Walking never asks the body to lift its full weight upward against gravity. Standing up does. That's why someone can walk for miles, yet still feel trapped in a low chair. The overlooked role of the calves. The calf muscles are often treated as an afterthought, but they play a critical role in stability. Every time you take a step, your calves control how your foot meets the ground. They help you recover from slips, adjust to uneven surfaces, and propel yourself forward. After 65, calf strength declines rapidly. Walking activates only a small fraction of their potential. Over time, this leads to slower steps, reduced ankle control, and increased fall risk, especially on stairs or curbs. This is why so many falls occur not during long walks, but during simple transitions. Stepping off a sidewalk, turning too quickly, or navigating a dimly lit hallway at night. Hip flexors and the fear of tripping. Another major contributor to mobility decline is hip flexor weakness. These muscles lift the leg with each step. When they weaken, the feet don't clear the ground as easily. This leads to shuffling, dragging toes, and frequent tripping over small obstacles. Walking does not sufficiently challenge these muscles because the movement is repetitive and shallow. Over time, the brain adapts to lifting the foot less and less. This is why many older adults feel confident walking straight ahead, but become anxious on stairs, curbs, or unfamiliar terrain. Before versus after, what strength changes? Before targeted strength work, daily life feels cautious. Movements are calculated. Chairs are avoided. Uneven ground feels threatening. Fatigue appears quickly. Confidence fades quietly. After consistent strength-focused movement, something shifts. Standing becomes automatic. Steps feel lighter. Balance improves. The fear of falling loosens its grip, not because the person is walking more, but because their muscles are finally being asked to support them properly. Common misconceptions that hold people back. Many older adults avoid strength exercises because they believe, "It's dangerous at my age. I should rest more, not strain myself. If I can walk, I'm doing enough." Strength training is for younger people. In reality, avoiding strength is far riskier than practicing it safely. Muscles don't disappear because of age alone. They disappear because they are no longer used with purpose. The body doesn't need punishment, it needs signals. Clear, controlled signals that say, this muscle still matters. And once those signals are restored, the body responds, even later in life. Once you understand what's really happening inside the body, the next question becomes simple and practical. What can be done safely, realistically, and consistently after 65? The solution is not extreme workouts, it's not long hours at the gym, and it's certainly not pushing through pain. What matters most is sending the right signals to the muscles that protect your independence. Daily movement habits that matter. Strength-focused movements should be done 3 to 4 days a week, not every day. Muscles grow stronger during rest, not during effort. On non-exercise days, light walking, stretching, or household movement is more than enough. Slow, controlled motion is key. Speed does not build strength at this stage of life, control does. Each movement should feel deliberate and stable, never rushed. Physical activity, quality over quantity. Targeted strength movements help retrain muscles that walking ignores. Standing up from a chair, controlled heel raises, and gentle knee lifts all challenge the muscles responsible for balance, stability, and safe movement. These exercises work best when performed with good posture, steady breathing, and full attention. If something feels uncomfortable but not painful, that's often a sign the muscle hasn't been used in a while. Sharp pain, joint pain, or dizziness are signs to stop and rest. Nutrition that supports muscle. Muscles need building blocks to respond to exercise. Many older adults unintentionally eat less protein than their bodies require. Including protein at each meal, such as eggs, fish, chicken, beans, yogurt, or dairy, supports muscle repair and strength. Hydration also matters more than people realize. Dehydration can worsen fatigue, balance issues, and muscle cramps, increasing fall risk. Sleep and recovery. Sleep is not optional for strength. During sleep, the body repairs muscle tissue and reinforces balance and coordination signals. Poor sleep can slow progress and increase the feeling of weakness, even when exercise habits are good. When to involve a professional? If standing up from a chair feels extremely difficult, or if falls have already occurred, consulting a physical therapist or healthcare provider is wise. This isn't a failure, it's prevention. Early guidance can reduce injury risk and accelerate improvement. The goal is not perfection, the goal is confidence. Confidence in standing, stepping, and moving through daily life without fear. With the right habits, the body remains adaptable far longer than most people are led to believe. Let's take a moment to bring everything together. Walking is still valuable. It supports your heart, your lungs, and your overall health. But strength is what keeps you independent. Strength is what allows you to stand without thinking, step without fear, and move through your day with confidence instead of caution. If you remember only one thing from this message, let it be this. Feeling weaker is not a personal failure, and it is not an unavoidable part of aging. It is often a sign that the body hasn't been given the right kind of challenge, not that it's broken. The good news is that muscles can respond at any age, in your 60s, in your 70s, even well into your 80s and beyond. The body is far more adaptable than we were once told. What matters is consistency, patience, and choosing movements that truly support everyday life. You don't need to do everything at once. Start small. One chair stand, a few heel raises, gentle knee lifts. Over time, those small efforts add up to steadier steps, easier movements, and greater peace of mind. If this information felt relevant to you, consider sharing it with someone you care about. A spouse, a friend, a family member. And if you're comfortable, leave a comment below. Your age, your experience, or what you found most helpful. Your story may help someone else feel less alone. Your independence is worth protecting, and it starts with the choices you make today.